Hi everyone, welcome back to Channel Name, where we dig into the latest stories in CPG business, strategy, supply chain, and what today's decisions mean for tomorrow. In this video, we'll explore how major CPG companies are reacting to weak demand by pruning product portfolios, cutting underperforming SKUs, brands, and simplifying variations. We'll look at real-world examples from the past year, assess successes and failures, unpack frameworks like Pareto, and at the end, share practical lessons for practitioners, consultants, or students. So why is portfolio pruning suddenly everywhere in CPG? Some of the powerful macro pressures: inflation driving up costs of raw materials, packaging, logistics. Consumers are more cost-conscious, trading down or being more selective. Many product launches aren't getting traction, supply chains are under strain, investor expectations are demanding performance. Companies can't just launch more products and hope something sticks. Doing so increases complexity and cost. Also, recent surveys show many CPG executives believe their current business structure won't survive the next decade unless they change. So pruning isn't just cost-cutting, it's a strategy to build resilience, focus, and adapt to shifting consumer preferences. Let's walk through some recent cases. Nestlé. Nestlé has started reviewing its value and mainstream vitamin supplement brands like Nature's Bounty to possibly divest them. The reasoning? Weaker performance versus premium brands where they have stronger differentiation. The idea is to shift resources toward high growth, higher margin, higher brand equity items. Kraft Heinz. They are reportedly splitting off slower growing grocery brands, Oscar Mayer Lunchables, to let faster growing areas have more focus. They may spin off some units or restructure to allow segments that are underperforming to find homes where they can be more efficient or better managed. India, Dabur, Nestlé, Emami. These companies are dropping or pausing underperforming brands, delaying launches, pruning manpower. Weak demand, weather, or seasonality effects, for example, unseasonal rains affecting consumption of certain categories, are making them reevaluate expansion. Global SKU reductions. For example, Nestlé removed about 20% of its product variations, SKUs, in a recent period, focusing instead on core, profitable SKUs. Heinz Celestial removed tilde 6% globally and has plans for larger cuts in certain categories. Unilever similarly has been removing unprofitable SKUs. Not all pruning is equal. Let's contrast where it seems to go well versus where it backfires. Success cases. Nestlé shifting to premium supplement brands. Differentiation, higher margins, stronger brand equity, choosing brands with growth potential rather than just cost-cutting. SKU rationalization at Nestlé, Unilever, etc. Removing SKUs with zero growth, zero profitability, simplifying supply chain and packaging, leading to margin improvements and improved service levels, where risks, failures might arise. Over-pruning leading to reduced presence, shelf space, or losing loyal niche customers. If you cut SKUs without understanding demand in smaller channels or niche segments, you may hurt brand visibility or alienate small but profitable segments. Cutting innovation too much for short-term cost savings. According to an EY report, many CPGs are cutting innovation to save cost, but that may reduce relevance in the long term if consumer trends shift. Divestitures or spin-offs that reduce scale, capabilities, or grip on supply chain. If you divest too much, you might lose synergies or economies of scale. What remains may be weaker and more vulnerable. To do portfolio pruning well, here are some tools and frameworks. Pareto analysis, 80/20 mapping. Map SKUs, brands by revenue, profit, growth, margin. Identify which 20-30% are delivering most of the value. Identify long tail, SKUs, small volume, low margin, low growth but high cost, overheads, complexity. Cost and complexity assessment, activity-based costing, assign real costs, production, packaging, changeovers, storage, supply chain, sales and distribution, to each SKU and brand. Some low-volume items may be more costly than realized. Complexity cost, how variance increase costs in forecasting, raw materials, logistics. Strategic value versus financial value. Some SKUs or brands may not show high profit but provide strategic value. For example, help retain customers, support premium image, serve niche channels, protect brand portfolio breadth. Value of innovation. Even low-volume new launches are often critical to staying ahead of trends. Scenario modeling, pilot test. Before large-scale cuts, pilot discontinuations, for example in limited geography, channel, to see reaction. Model revenue, margin, cost savings, customer loss, brand image impact. Organizational process, cross-functional teams, finance, operations, marketing, supply chain to evaluate. Set thresholds, for example percent of revenue, profit contribution, growth rate, for reviewing SKUs brands. Ensure continuous review, not one-off project. Let's illustrate with a hypothetical CPG firm, Pure Foods Co. Scenario: Pure Foods has 150 SKUs across snacks, health bars, protein powders, and wellness supplements. Over the past 18 months, cost inflation, raw materials, packaging, trucking, has increased gross costs by 15%. Simultaneously, consumers are cutting back on discretionary wellness purchases. The margins are under pressure. Task: portfolio pruning to ensure profitability, reduce complexity, and focus investment where it yields return. Steps they take: data gathering, collect sales by SKU, margin breakdowns, costs of logistics, packaging, inventory, etc. Pareto map: find that 20 SKUs equal 70% of revenue. Approximately 40 SKUs generate negligible revenue but high cost. Identify zero or negative contribution SKUs when overheads included. 15 SKUs fall into that category. Evaluate strategic value. Some low-volume SKUs are well-liked in niche channels, so maybe keep 5 of them. Discontinue the others. Pilot discontinuations in less critical channel or geography to test spillover effects. Reallocate savings. Invest in power SKUs with growth, for example premium wellness bars. Improve marketing. Reduce packaging material cost. Invest in supply chain automation. To wrap up, here are key lessons from what we've seen, and a proposed approach you can use if you're managing or advising a CPG business. Key takeaways: pruning isn't just cutting for cost saving, it's about redirecting resources toward units with higher growth, margin, and strategic importance. Avoid the trap of cutting too many items indiscriminately. Understand not just current profit, but growth potential, brand equity, and channel implications. SKU rationalization can yield substantial improvements in margin, service levels, and supply chain performance. But discontinued SKUs may cost in terms of lost shelf presence or consumer loyalty, so run pilots or phased exits. Innovation remains crucial. Cost pressures are real, but so is consumer demand for novelty, health, sustainability, wellness, premiumization. Eliminating innovation entirely is risky. Use metrics and data, true profitability, including overhead, volume growth, complexity cost, customer impact. Also monitor external trends, consumer behavior, macroeconomics, regulatory competitive threats. Proposed approach: step-by-step for portfolio pruning. Portfolio audit. Gather full data. Revenues, unit volumes, margins, gross plus allocated overhead, cost to serve, inventory, logistics. Growth trends for all SKUs/brands/categories. Pareto segmentation analysis. Segment SKUs into, for example, power SKUs, top revenue, growth margin, mid-tail, long-tail. Identify which small portion drives most of value. Strategic value assessment, for SKUs in mid and long-tail. Assess strategic importance, brand image, niche channel, innovation test beds, regulatory sustainability requirements, consumer goodwill. Cost, complexity review. Understand all costs associated with each SKU, packaging, changeovers, procurement, warehousing, forecasting, distribution, etc. Also, complexity costs, variety, inventory risk. Pilot discontinuation, consolidation, test cuts in less risky areas. Consider consolidating SKUs or reducing variance rather than full discontinuation if possible. Communication and stakeholder management. Plan how to communicate to retailers, customers, internal teams. Manage potential backlash if niche consumers are upset, etc. Reinvestment and reallocation. Use savings, cost, capacity, management bandwidth to invest in high-growth, high-margin brands, innovation, supply chain efficiency, marketing for core SKUs. Continuous review. Make pruning and simplification part of your periodic business reviews, quarterly or annually, not a one-time fix. Track KPIs, margin, service levels, brand perception, inventory, etc. That's it for today's breakdown. Portfolio pruning is a difficult but often necessary strategy in today's CPG landscape. When done thoughtfully, it can sharpen focus, free up resources, and position companies for more sustainable growth. But the key is nuance, knowing which cuts to make, which to preserve, and how to do this without damaging the core. If you found this useful, hit subscribe, let me know in the comments. Has your organization gone through pruning? What challenges did you find? Until next time, stay strategic, stay analytical.